I'd never written any script, any play, anything like that till I was 27. Hadn't even considered it. I had always been writing and always been writing down wee bits of dialogue, and I'd just done it all my life, but never with a view to writing plays or screenwriting, because I was a kind of swotty person at school, and if you were a swotty person at school and rubbish at science, you would be funneled into law. So I was duly funneled into law and became a solicitor, a very miserable one, and once I qualified, I quit, and that's when I took the notion that I was going to finally write, but I thought I was going to write a novel. To support myself, I got a part-time job at the BBC, writing quiz show development things, and while I was there, I saw on the predecessor to BBC Writersroom that BBC Scotland was running a competition for new children's drama. So I thought I'd have a crack at it. As soon as I started writing, and in that form, I just knew that I'd found something that I love. Well, I won that wee competition. I couldn't believe it, because that first moment where someone affirms that it's okay, you can do this, and you should be doing this, and just do it. I was just elated, like nothing could probably ever match that. That script, having a script that somebody else had recognised was good, meant that, well, I could sort of take myself seriously as maybe trying to have a shot at this. And then what happens if you're from a small part of Glasgow is that your parents tell everyone that you've won this wee competition, and somebody knows somebody who knows somebody who's a Glasgow producer now based in London. The wonderful Rowana Ben, late of Tiger, now runs Drama Republic. So my aunt sent my script to her and saying, Nicole's won a competition, and Rowana liked it, and she invited me in, and she offered me a job on the first series of Secret Diary of a Call Girl, and I didn't have an agent, and she recommended a couple of people to write to, and the first one was Joe Phillips at Curtis Brown, and I met him, and we fell in love in a professional sense, and I'm still with him. So that's how it got started. Well, if you get an agent, apart from just the sheer thrill of being like, I've got an agent, it helps you take yourself more seriously. They then send you out to meet everybody, and that's amazing, because then job offers come from that. So having an agent, it's like opening a wee door for you and then ushering you through it, and then you get to have this moment where you're this like hot new writer and everybody wants to hear your chat. It's great, get an agent. I think most things with me start with somebody's voice, and there's a person who feels real to me who then starts chatting away. And I certainly didn't know anything about structure at that time. I didn't really know anything about anything. I just had an idea for a character and started to write what that character would say, and then it just came out. And then anything I now know about structure, which sometimes doesn't feel like a lot, I've learned just by job to job and just figuring it out. The main positive is getting the opportunity to do it in the first place. It's such a wonderful opportunity to go to Hollywood and sit with other writers and learn how they do it there, and it's such a minority interest here, it feels. You sit by yourself in your pants day in, day out, you barely know any other writers, and then suddenly there, every second person you meet is a writer, and you can just geek out talking to them about everything that you're passionate about. So that was wonderful. I would say that I don't particularly enjoy sitting in a room coming up with ideas. That's just not the way I think. I like to, much as I've just lamented the fact that I spend so much time by myself, actually I need to. I can't just generate things sort of on the spot. And also it was funny because I was in a room with 2 British writers and the rest were American, and we Brits are just not that good at this sort of thing. It's not in us. That show and tell thing, I found it very strange to just chime in. I like to think things through. However, I loved being there and hearing people talk about the craft of writing and learning all these terms of art that I'd never heard of before, like you're using too much shoe leather, or you don't have enough real estate between these scenes. And yeah, it was a wonderful experience. I loved it. At that stage, I was getting sent books like quite often, and that one, even just reading the back, the voice of the character just appealed to me. And although I was a little bit daunted that this was a memoir about cancer, and once I started to read it, I couldn't unknow what was in there. It was it wasn't immediately something you want to tear through, and yet that's exactly what I did. I was sitting in a cafe, I just read the whole thing. I thought, this is incredible. I have to get this job.
Who's your dad? I asked Faith. How you feeling? Amazing. Oh, can you see me? Yeah. Can you see me figure? Yeah. Can you just check under it? Please, what? Check under the cover. Of course. Oh, you bastard. Ow. Dude. Stop making me laugh. You're right.
I had her blog and I had my relationship with Lisa, and that was amazing, and I met her family and we were the same age and from the same kind of background. I always think of her as a northerner, but she's from the Midlands, but nonetheless, just the chat was there and the warmth was there. So I suppose structurally, what can I say? I mean, it was there. I could find it in the book. The challenge came when I'd written a draft of it where she goes back to normal life having had this experience, and then there was a long period where she was well, and then the cancer came back, and then she died, and then the BBC wanted to make it and her family wanted it to be made, but they wanted me to change the ending. So that was extremely challenging. The people involved with Three Girls from the outset, Sue Hogg, Simon Lewis, Philippa Lowthorpe, the director, they had made together 5 Daughters with another writer, an amazing writer, I think he's called Stephen Butchard. And I love that drama. I just love that drama. It's one of the best that I've ever seen. So I desperately wanted to work with Philippa, and I'd worked with Sue on the C Word. So I wanted to do it, but I was afraid of doing it. So initially I said no. My partner challenged me, why are you not doing this? Isn't your turning away based on the same discomfort and not wanting it to be true that caused everyone involved to turn away? And I felt like that sort of punctured some of my pious reasons for not wanting to go there. So yeah, I went for it. I knew it would be difficult, and it was, but entirely worth it.
So you want me to help you?
Yeah, we do.
When you never help me. Why would I do that? Well, 'cause you come here and you sit being nice to me, baby. Why don't you try taking me to McDonald's? Or is it just social workers who do that? It's pathetic.
I just want to talk to you, Holly. The police just want to talk to you.
I've talked to him. I've talked to him. And talked to him. And talked to him. And talked to him. And then they turn around and call me a liar.
Yeah, absolutely. We were up and down to Rochdale, up and down to Manchester. We were working loads with Maggie Oliver, the real Maggie Oliver, who's played by Leslie Sharp in the drama, and Sarah Rowbotham, played by Maxine Peake. They were both invaluable. I spent so much time with them. I spent time with the girls. It's amazing to have, well, just have the real voices, not even telling the story, but just being around me and hearing how they spoke, because there was so much humour and, you know, the Rochdale banter, and it made me think about Glasgow, and I loved being there, and I loved listening to them, and that was very helpful in writing the characters. To say nothing of the research, even apart from that, the voice being there was extremely helpful. Well, they were the voices that meant I was a solicitor. Sorry to go on about being a solicitor. Mum, Dad, I've accepted it. I'm not getting at you. But I really feel like that lack of confidence meant that I didn't even give it a go. And I love it, and it's everything to me, and still now I really struggle with it. It's bloody hard, and I feel like it takes me such a long time to do everything, and I sort of was hoping at this stage that I'd have this amazing, you know, wee kit bag of dramatic tools that can be deployed almost, you know, with a degree of leisure, but it's just not like that, and it feels like it's so difficult every time, like you're excavating something and you're basically knee deep in until you've got it, and then it reveals itself to you. And I'm amazed that it's such a mysterious process still, but it is. And I think, you know, the self-doubt hits all the time, but at this point, I work with people who really encourage me and really inspire me. Like Sue Hogg is a wonderful human being, and she has seen something in me way back from the C word that I have never seen in myself, and she just somehow motivates me. And even when I think I can't do it, and I tell her that I can't do it, she knows that I can do it, and then I do it. I think it's so easy to be intimidated by other people who are doing what you really secretly want to do but can't imagine yourself doing. And I always go on about the fact that when I went to university, that the entire time I was there were so many opportunities that I could have taken to write and whatever, but I just didn't go near them because I was so intimidated by the people going around with copies of Beckett under their arm. And that made me think that writing's not for you, working in television is not for you. These are the people who are going to do that thing. These are the dazzling footlights type people who are going to do that. And I was convinced of that, and I left university thinking, well, it's too late now. You had all the opportunities while you were there. You didn't take advantage of them, so, you know, get to your corporate job and never mind. And I had to hit peak misery in that job to just be like, right, I'm sacking this off and I'm going to give this a go. And if I've got any advice, it's just that you're never not going to feel intimidated at times, that you don't know what you're doing and other people do. But all those, can I say dickheads? All those dickheads with the plays under their arms, like wafting about the quads and stuff like that, they're doing boring shit now. And I get to do this, and I love it all the more for how much I never imagined getting to do it. I'd have the complete works of Victoria Wood, because I think she's the greatest British writer who ever lived, drama as well as comedy, Housewife 49. I would take the film Margaret by Kenneth Lonergan, because I think it's perfect, and the way he gets inside that girl's head, that's what I always aspire to whenever I'm writing myself. Maybe it would be Lars and the Real Girl, or Tootsie, to cheer myself up. Yeah, one of those two. Yeah. I've written a film called Country Music. I don't know if it will make it to cinemas called Country Music, I doubt it. It's about a girl from Glasgow who wants to get the hell out of Glasgow and make it to Nashville as a country singer. But she's got 2 or 3 obstacles in the shape of 2 young children and a mum who wants her to just get a normal job and just get on with it. It's been my wee passion project for years. I started writing it an embarrassing number of years ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago, and it was just filmed in Glasgow and Nashville in the summer. So that's pretty exciting, but it's a very different process to TV.